Oh, that's us. Hi, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone, and this is our weekly Q&A session and hangout. Let me just do a little. There we go. Came out a little bit, actually.
What was the sound effect?
I don't know. It just seemed appropriate. Since it's Dylan Talks Tone, I figured I would make
If your
tones.
camera squeaked like that, you would be
Oh,
very
I'd
mad.
be mad. It actually makes autofocus noises that I can hear while I'm editing. It drives me nuts. Anyways, if you are new to the channel, we talk about guitar stuff here. We come out with a video almost every day of the week. We have some interesting subject tonight. I want to know how important or under what circumstances you would buy a signature guitar. And I'm going to tell you why I think they're really cool. And maybe dispel some myths about them as well. So we'll talk about that because it is one of the questions tonight. Typically what we do is we feature questions that people have put in through Patreon and through YouTube members, because I make a post about that on Patreon. So we want to thank all of our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/DylanTalksTone. That's how we do reviews. That's who buys the guitars for the reviews and all that stuff, since we don't get a lot of free stuff, so we appreciate that. As well as supporting some of the links below, like StuMac, Sweetwater, and of course Dylan Talks Tone if you want pickups. So once we get through all the plugging portions of the show, and of course all of you. So one of the major ways that you can help support the channel is you can use a super chat during live streams to ask questions. If you do that, we'll drop what we are doing, and we will answer that question immediately because you appreciated us enough to use said super chat. So we will appreciate you enough to stop what we're doing and talk about it.
But we appreciate all of you being
All
here.
of you, yes. Because the whole channel is sponsored by y'all, really. So, let's get into some questions.
Okay.
Let's do Patreon questions first, and then we'll talk about... I'm kind of curious about this signature guitar thing because people keep asking me about it.
Oh, Terry Himes and Jeffrey Egan must have met.
That's excellent.
Cool.
Very cool. So we have people in the comments that are meeting in IRL, as the kids say. Sweet.
That's neat.
That's awesome. I haven't met Terry Himes. I've met Jeff Egan.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. First up, Veergate. I've never seen this one.
Yeah, this is a new name over on Patreon, so welcome.
Veergate. Howdy, y'all. Dylan, I recently got the Squire Paranormal Custom Nashville Strat, and I'm thinking of putting in a T90 in the bridge. One of your humbuckers in the neck, haven't decided which one yet, and your Strat pickup, also haven't made up my mind yet, in the middle. Would there be any issues with this setup? I don't know much about wiring and pots and all that, so I don't know what restrictions, if any, I have on what pickups I want to put in. Also, loving the flat sixes I got from you back in April.
Excellent. Well, thanks, man. That would be a really cool setup. Mini humbucker in the neck would be really cool. The only thing we have to worry about is phasing for all that stuff. So the only thing I would recommend is when you order, because your choices sound good. If in that situation, if you wanted a full-size humbucker, I would use a DAF. And then I would use, if you order all those pickups at the same time, which is what I would recommend, I'll wind the Strat pickup to match. Instead of you just pick any one of them, but put them in a set, and I'll make sure that they match. And just put a note on there that it's a set. So phasing is the only other thing that I would mention to you that could be a problem. So when you order them all at the same time, and just, like I said, put a little note in there that they're a set. And I will know to wind them accordingly, and everything will match, and it will all work together.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
Super chat from Tony Leonardi. Thank you for the super chat, Tony. He says, hello, Leslie and Dylan. What do you think about a Dylan signature? Kind of kidding, kind of not.
the conversation has been had, but we're not in a spot right now where that would make any sense. The question, and we'll get into why signature guitars are a thing later. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with you. If you would buy them, we would make them. But it also has to do with logistics too. So when we get into that conversation about signature guitars, we'll talk about why they even exist. Because that's a big misconception, I think, a lot. So we'll get into that. It has nothing to do with if there was a Dylan signature guitar, it would really have little to do with me. It would have more to do with y'all. So we'll discuss that in a few minutes. We'll come back to that because it's a good point.
Jeffrey Egan says the Dylan signature guitar is the Batfish.
That is one of my designs, yes. But if I had a signature guitar, it would not be that guitar.
Jeff. Hello, Dylan and Leslie. Do you think modern factory wound and produced pickups still contain nuances that give them individual sounds, as did the older hand wound ones, or are they cookie cutter sound the same types?
Oh, this is a great question. It's probably coming from our conversation we had about inexpensive guitars the other day. So a lot of that has to do with the goal of the guitar brand when they request the pickups. So if you have a guitar, like if you have a new Fender Strat coming out, there will be somebody in Fender engineering and they will come up with a pickup for that guitar. If they have a new edition of an Epiphone or a Gibson Les Paul, there is, in fact, he's a friend of mine, I know him, a guy who works in the engineering department at Gibson, and they will formulate things. And so even if it's made on a machine, there's a lot of thought that goes behind it and stuff. When you step down into the cheaper guitars, a lot of times that's almost like a drop-down box kind of situation from their standpoint. So like, on these real inexpensive guitars, anything, $700 and below, it's going to be, we just want a low output kind of vintagey sounding thing, but it's going to basically be a parts caster, if you will, of all of the foreign parts that come together to make the guitar. It's going to hit a certain price point, and there's going to be certain models that are above that. Billy Joe Armstrong Epiphone is a great example where that's a pretty inexpensive guitar, but obviously there's probably some thought put into that. And I couldn't tell you each individual specific model that this one was like perfectly engineered for this particular sound, but it does happen and it can happen, and you can do it even if it's made on a machine.
Patrick Hardy says, why wasn't there a post on YouTube members to ask questions
Oh,
today?
whoops.
We are part of the team too.
Sorry, I don't know why that didn't happen. I sat there this morning and did all of it and didn't do that. I'm sorry. Well, if you have a question, stick it in there. We'll throw it up there.
I'm looking for you, Patrick. Go ahead. All right, Rob F. If an amp has a single tone knob, does it work the same as a guitar tone knob? Does it simply remove frequencies above a value determined by the pot and a cap? Or is it more sophisticated? For example, turning left adds bass, turning right adds treble.
There are a bunch of different Baxendale. I can't think of all the names, but there's a bunch of different wiring conventions and circuit conventions for EQ. And it depends on the amp builder how elaborate the tone stacks in an amplifier are. And it's also up to the amp builder where in the signal chain and what it affects in the signal chain, what the tone stacks do. And so I can't tell you the answer to that because I don't know each individual one. But to answer your question, it's far more complicated than just a variable resistor with a capacitor going to ground. There's a lot more going on in an amp. There can be, and there is most of the time. That's a good question. Nobody's ever asked that question before, I don't think.
Zoltan. Hi, Leslie and Dylan. Here's a sort of philosophical question. What is, to you, the appeal of a signature guitar, if any, over the standard version of the same instrument with the same specs? I, for instance, very much enjoyed all of the work and experience of converting a Squier Strat to Blackmore specs for the fun of it, but I'd never consider dropping $5,000 for the signature model.
Okay. This is where this whole subject came up. I wonder if we should get other people's opinion first and then tell you what I think, or should we just answer this question first?
They're already been given their opinion, so I think it's on the screen. You should talk to Zoltan.
Okay. I was just trying to think of how to best include everyone. So, as far as signature guitars go, from my personal perspective, I love them because he says in his question that they have like same model and same spec, but that's very rare. There is very rarely a specification of guitar that is a signature model that is exactly the same as something else that you can get.
Right.
Right? So, I
think they do that on purpose.
Right. Yes.
It's like getting packages on your car.
Right.
You want one from each package, so you have to.
So you have to get all the package. Yeah, you have to get package 1, package 2, and package 3 because this one has heated seats, this one has a sunroof, and this one has performance suspension or whatever, and you have to get all of them to get the 3 things you really wanted.
Right.
It's kind of you're right.
It's marketing.
Yes, it's the same way with the signature model stuff. If you look at some of the stuff that I have. The Mark-Lettieri Fiore, that guitar does not exist. You cannot get that guitar in that spec anywhere else. That's like the only one like it. Let's see. The Silver Sky, that's probably, you could make a better case for that because it's probably pretty easy to find a Strat that's spec'd similarly. But not a PRS. And then, like, for example, my Les Paul, the reason I got it is because it has Alnico 2 pickups in it. It has a slim neck instead of the fat 50s neck, but it's still got a AAA top and all the stuff. So there was like a conglomeration of specs that I wanted that could only be gotten on that guitar. And I think a lot of times, most of these things, you could take a black Strat and you could make the Pink Floyd David Gilmour thing in a black Strat with a maple neck, but it wouldn't actually be the same radius and the same blah, blah, blah. You could do that, but it wouldn't be exactly the same. And some of those specs are so specific. So that's why I like them. And I very rarely will buy a guitar because of the artist first, and then my Schecter PT too, the Machine Gun Kelly guitar. There's nothing like that. That guitar is its own thing, and I love it for that. So I like the specificity of each of those things, and if I didn't like the guitar, I wouldn't buy it. The only exception to that would be I bought the Les Paul because it had the specs that I wanted, and it was a Les Paul, and it was a guitar that you liked for a reason, connection to the song that it's inspired by. So that guitar might be the most like idealistically purchased guitar, like form over function maybe, because I would have bought the gold top one. So, but we kind of wanted that one because of that song and stuff. So maybe that one's the closest I've ever come to being like idealistic about a signature model's
Yeah.
purchase. You know.
Because I think you just explained it, but Grant McCosey said, but did you get the signature guitar because you like the artist or the features?
Good question.
I mean, I definitely don't think you got Machine Gun Kelly because you loved Machine Gun Kelly. Not at the time.
No. I mean, I like Machine Gun
It's
Kelly.
a really cool looking guitar.
It's a really cool. I bought it because it was pink.
Yeah.
I buy pink guitars when I see them because I think they're cool. And then I was like, oh, because it came up in the news, and I was like, oh, that's it's a single humbucker with a volume knob, super cool. B, it's pink. C, it has carbon fiber reinforcements in the neck, and it's just a really cool guitar. So I was like, I really liked it. I did not buy it because I thought Machine Gun Kelly was some kind of guitar hero. He is really good, but in his style of music and stuff, I have, I follow him on Instagram and, TikTok and stuff. But it's not like he's not like obviously a guitar idol of mine or anything. I don't really even care for John Mayer that much. That guitar was bought, the Silver Sky, the first Silver Sky that I bought, was more out of curiosity than anything. I think I just really wanted to try it because there was such buzz about it. Mm-hmm. And the SE had come out, and I bought the SE. Well, I got the SE from PRS, or from Sweetwater. And then I bought the real one because I wanted to compare them. I kind of bought that for a video, didn't like that guitar actually, and then really fell in love with it. The Fiore, I just fell in love with the guitar. I was never a Snarky Puppy fan. I don't know that I've listened to 5 Snarky Puppy songs since I bought that guitar. Mark Lettieri, the blue one.
Yeah, and see, I don't
You're
know
like,
who that is.
What?
And
Yeah.
I still don't know who that person is. So.
Oh, Mark Lettieri. Yeah.
I don't think anything about a person when I see that guitar.
Yeah, me either. I don't. But I picked up that guitar. I'd heard about it. I'd seen it. Didn't care about it at all when it first came out. I'm like, it's a single hum Silver Sky, which it's not. It's completely different. And I'm like, whatever. And then I picked it up when I was at Sweetwater and totally fell head over heels for it and like lusted after it for a year before I got it. So, there is that. I mean, and what's really funny is almost all of my favorite guitars right now are signature model guitars. I mean, they're all that. Actually, all of them up there, except for the Telly. The Les Paul is in the case. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think they're cool. What's everybody else saying? We'll get into the whys of it in a minute, but I want to get other people's thoughts too.
What's everybody saying? I have 46 things over here.
Let's go.
Robert Olin, I think some people get signature guitars, not because of the artist, but because they are just cool. The Brent Mason Telly, for instance, it's cool if you want the bender or the wiring.
Yes. Single guitar features.
Rob F. said, if I would have had $9,000 in disposable funds at the time, I would have bought the Mike Ness Les Paul.
Oh.
But then I've been a huge Social D fan for many years.
Amen.
Robert Olin, I would have loved to have gotten the Slash Les Paul, but I ended up with a 60s standard. I'm going to throw Enduros into it.
Ooh, cool.
Into it. Danielle Emberly, I do have one signature guitar, the Eastman Frank Vignola Ryan Thorell design.
Interesting.
Grant McCosey says Les Pauls are all signature guitars.
They are. Yeah. Matt says that the signature of a signature guitar. The Slash.
Chris Willis says signature guitar would have to be from someone I really love. Money is hard to come by these days.
Makes sense.
Lee Asbury, I have a Reverend Billy Corgan signature just because I love that guitar and the Railhammer BC pickups. I liked the pumpkins, but it had zero effect on my purchase.
Okay. And I think that's a lot of people.
Hawkman Hawk says, hello, just got a signature guitar today. Reverend Reeves Gabriel.
Reeves Gabriel. Oh.
With the Sustainer. The Sustainer is why I bought it, but killer guitar, even though it's bolt-on neck with binding.
That's
LOL.
That's a cool guitar, though. It is.
BC Rich 581 says, some signature basses play exceptionally well. Sadly, they're also exceptionally expensive. Mark Egan's MV Padilla signature bass is one I'd purchase. RRD says, I have a DJ Asba Sig, American-made Schecter.
Oh, cool.
It is excellent. I play it more than any of my guitars.
That's cool.
Windsurf Maui says, the only SIG guitar I would consider is the PRS Santana SE, both because I admire Santana's tone, but also because it has a thick neck and 24 3/4 scale. How are you supposed to say that?
24 3/4 scale.
Even though they wrote 24.75?
You could say 24.75 too. A lot of people do. Either way. Doesn't matter.
24 3/4 sounded better.
I mean,
Even
Santana's tone, isn't it just, you just play on the neck pickup with the tone all the way down? I'm just kidding.
RRD says, I also have an Alex Lifeson Gibson and the Alex Epiphone, both worth every penny.
Mm-hmm. And that's got a Floyd on it, right? That's a Les Paul with a Floyd. So again, very unique. If I'm correct on that, I could be wrong, but I think that's what it is.
Alexander says, yes, 100% they are. I own 5 signatures. Which
Wow,
one's Alexander?
I want to know what they are. That's cool.
Let's see. Mark Stanton says, I bought a Clapton Strat in the 90s because it was the best feeling guitar I had ever played. To me, how a guitar feels and sounds is everything. The looks are nice, but they're secondary.
Got it. Makes sense.
Tweaker. I'm assuming it's Tweak. Tweakrr.
Okay.
Tweaker.
Probably.
Could
Tweaker.
Like T-weaker. I don't know. For me, a signature guitar is definitely worth it if it comes with the pickups and other things that have been customized by the artist to make a specific tone.
Good point, because sometimes the signature guitar is nothing like what they actually play. So, good. But I think we're getting away from that, because I think YouTube and all stuff like what we're talking about right now is making it so they have to be more transparent about that. Where, you know, unless it's, you know, a 59 Les Paul or something, they're doing better about making them the same.
I'm going to be like way behind because people are still commenting. Chuck C says, I have the Ernie Ball John Myung bass.
Yeah, that's cool.
A Geddy Lee jazz bass. The Alex Lifeson Epiphone Les Paul. And the J Mascis.
J Mascis, yeah.
Mascis Squire.
Dinosaur
They're
Jr.
all great instruments.
Cool.
What was the Dinosaur Jr. video that I told you it was actually filmed in Augusta and you never knew it?
That's right.
Wasn't
I don't
that
remember.
Dinosaur Jr.?
Mm-hmm. It was Dinosaur Jr., but I don't remember which song.
Whatever had the skateboarding, all the skateboarding.
All the skateboarding video. That was recorded here.
I learned that in some random Facebook post by somebody I didn't even know in a group. I don't know why I'm in it. Anyway.
So you could share that right now.
Right now. RRD said, and I still can't remember the whole thing. I'm like, what was that?
This is how she tells jokes, too. Yeah. Sorry.
No, now I tell jokes. I'm like, I'm going to mess it up. Let me look it up. And
like,
I just have to read it.
Let me just text you the meme instead of tell you the joke.
Yeah. RRD says, my Alex Lifeson Epiphone was $899. Now they're going for $1,300 to $1,600. I would never sell it, but it went up in value fast.
Yep. That doesn't always happen.
Tweaker, I think the Slash stuff has gotten a bit out of control at Gibson Epiphone, but the Slash Appetite for Destruction Les Paul signature is my most played guitar, and I love everything about it.
What do you mean by out of control? You mean like they're coming out with one of almost every one of his models that he plays? I could see why you say that, but you know, I mean, Van Halen, they did the same thing. They came out with a bunch of different ones, I guess.
CB says, if you're a fan of the artist, have the cash, and want it, then get it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't care if I'm a fan of the artist even.
John OJF says, signature guitars that flare the artist is cool. Rory Block has a Martin acoustic signature with traffic lights, yellow signs, crosswalk inlays on the neck. It is cool. Crossroads Blues, I guess.
You know what's funny about that? I'm kind of the opposite. I want a signature guitar that kind of more looks like a regular guitar. So you wouldn't catch me playing at a local gig a Van Halen Frankenstein. Or anything that's really obviously... I wouldn't play it as much as I'm an SRV guy. I would not play an SRV signature guitar. I think because in people's... Then it's like, well, you must play that kind of music. You must like that kind of music. You must be that good. I don't know. Is that some sort of like association that people make? I don't care personally to play the guitars out anyway. I'll still own them, but I wouldn't play them out. The ones that are so individually that person's, that everybody, even if you're not a guitar person, you know that's Van Halen's guitar. You know what I mean? I don't think I would play those. At least out live and stuff.
All right, I'm going to go backwards so that, because I've grabbed some more, but I'm not finished scrolling, so I'm going to go in a weird order.
Okay.
Rob F. says his next project is a Peter Green tribute. I'm thinking of starting with the Epi/Anaconda Burst, coolest looking green Les Paul I know of.
That's cool. We were talking about that on the Patreon hangout the other night.
Bear51, have you checked out John Five's The Ghost Telecaster? That is one awesome looking guitar.
Speaking of guitars that are very specific to the artist, I wanted to buy one and they were gone so fast. And yeah. I had just bought another Tele in it.
Joseph Caswell said, maybe the artist had a guitar you always wanted. I still want an Iommi Lefty Monkey.
Oh, yeah. It's like a SG with two P90s in it, but he's left-handed. So it's, yeah, that'd be cool. And it has a sticker on it. That's where the monkey comes from.
It's Victoria G says, I love the 24-inch scale ebony fretboard that Brian May guitars have. I started with the Brian May, but prefer the Ariel for the small body and modern C neck. The fact that I like the artist is a huge bonus.
That's really... Okay, so I think that's cool. I want to talk about her for a second because she's playing somebody that is a newer artist. We've heard a few sprinkled in here, but a lot of people are playing newer artists' stuff and female artists. I think that's really, really neat. I think that's really neat. I think it's really cool that we're not just talking about Jimmy Page and stuff. We're actually exploring some stuff.
All right. I might have grabbed, let's see. All right, couple more. Timothy Potter, give me the Ernie Ball Steve Morse signature for sure. He's one of my favorite guitarists, and the thing is way beautiful. It has to be good, or Steve would not let his name go on it. Dixie Dregs, bro.
He let me hold his guitar once at a NAMM show. He's from here, so.
Let's see. I think... All right, I'm just going to have to call it because
Okay.
No.
Oh.
I have tons.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to grab
because
them.
I do want to talk about a couple more things about it, but yeah, let's go through some more.
Do you want to talk first?
Nope,
then?
keep going.
And then we'll just catch up?
Nope, keep going because they might bring up points and we'll just wiggle it in there.
All right.
And then we'll take questions for a little bit too.
Random Guitar says, one of the guitarists who I greatly admire, Eric Johnson, has a few signature strats, but I've never had a desire to get any of them.
Me too. I never cared about his guitars, so.
Tweaker says, anything that motivates me to play is worth it.
Eric Johnson is playing a quad Cortex now.
Is he? Mm-hmm. Jason Albert says, I want to get an Epiphone Dave Grohl.
Oh, dude. I want the Gibson one. Once that comes out, I'm going to sell body parts to get that guitar.
Rusty Shackelford says, sometimes a signature model is just a way to get a slightly nicer version for a little more money. Slash Les Paul has pickups you can't get otherwise and a nice top.
Exactly.
Jeffrey Egan says, the only signature model I have is my Zach Myers PRS SE. I bought it because it was the second cheapest one. We answered that one.
I love it.
Hat Mike says, I want signature guitars because I grew up watching Jerry Cantrell and Adam Jones playing them. The nostalgia is 95% of the reason.
I get that.
Jeffrey Egan said the Santana model was the cheapest, but I like the specs on the Zach Myers better.
That's a cool guitar.
Rusty Shackelford said the Eric Clapton Strat used to be the only way to get lace sensors stock.
That's right. Yep.
Random Guitar says my wife wanted to get me an Angus Young Signature SG once, but I talked her out of it. She got me a Gibson SG Original 2 instead. I really like that guitar.
Oh, that's cool.
And then Mark Stanton replied to that. He said, I've learned that if my wife wants to buy me a guitar, I don't interfere. The Metal Guy says, I think Inve's Strat is one of the most versatile, best bang for the buck signature guitars.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Nobody's brought that one up so far. That's interesting.
Random Guitar, what I would buy would be a John McPhee signature tone pack for my Helix.
Oh, there you go too, because that makes a lot of sense. We haven't even talked about amps or pedals or anything like that either. There's all kinds of stuff that goes along with this. And plugins. And IRs and stuff.
Jason Albert, of course, trivia time. He knows all the trivia. Did you know that the signature Pete Townsend signature Strat is a modified Eric Clapton because Pete plays a modified Clapton?
Mm-hmm. And the Schecter PT came from him too. That's why it's called the PT.
Video Brew. I feel like the only artist-specific features I'd want to see in a guitar are things you could just modify yourself, like Neil Young's old black Firebird pickup and metal P90 cover.
Yeah, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Sometimes, carbon fiber rods and a neck is kind of hard to do yourself. Sometimes specific neck profiles are hard to do yourself. But yeah, there are a lot of things where you can just get close with mods. That is for sure.
Rusty Shackelford said Kirk Hammett's Greenie is cool.
It is. I almost bought that guitar a couple weeks ago. The regular one.
DJ MC says the signature doesn't matter. They just have cool specs.
Agreed.
I don't know. Tobor says JJN, who's that? Signature is a favorite, and I'd never heard of him play. All about the unique features.
Jared James Nichols. Mm-hmm.
Still don't know who that is. Chadwick Ryder says, I'm loving the Epiphone Joe Bonamassa 1962 ES335 semi-hollow.
I'm glad you got that guitar because a lot of people were like, that guitar's too expensive. But that's a really cool guitar. I'm glad you got one.
Martian Murray says, I'm a fan of Jay Mascis and Kurt Cobain, and I plan on getting one because I like offsets and the Adjustomatic bridge.
That makes sense.
It's Victoria G. Paul Gilbert's signature Ibanez Micro should come in a prestige level finish. I would be all over that.
Oh, yeah.
DJ MC, I have 3 Claptonish guitars. The mid-boost TRX are awesome, and they feel and play great like that Clapton played them too.
Yep. See, and you like that stuff, and I don't. I don't like the pickups, I don't like the TRX, and I don't like the neck profile of those guitars. I was never drawn to them, but that's awesome.
Rusty, if I had the money, I would buy the Southern Rock Les Paul with the reverse burst.
Oh, yeah.
Gary Simmons, the signature on a guitar means nothing to me. If it's a cool guitar, I'll buy it. If it's just bold new graphics on a standard model, well, F that.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Oh my gosh.
He's not wrong.
Muddy H2O. Muddy water? Or should I say muddy H2O? We're going to say muddy water.
That's awesome.
I bought a Todd Krause master-built Clapton Strat. He's been a guitar idol of mine since I was a teen. I love the specs and wanted one built by the guy that builds them for the man himself.
I mean, if you're a fan, that is the thing to do, right? Yeah. I have played Stevie Ray Vaughan prototype number 1 made by John Cruz, and I will tell you, there is no modded guitar that gets you there. Like, that is, I've played the guitar, and there is nothing like it. You can't, so if you're into it, do it. And you have the means, obviously, do it.
Jose Maz says, I'm thinking of getting the Nita Strauss Ibanez and never heard of her before I found the guitar.
She's pretty good.
DJ MC, can't believe PRS never made the Santana SEs in any other colors than yellow. They would have sold a bunch in other colors.
They did. They made, a couple years ago, they made, based on one of the album covers, it's black. And it has, or like transparent black maybe, and it has the album cover logo. I can't remember. Somebody will chime in the comments. One of you Santana fans will chime in the comments. But they did make another color. But I agree. I don't like that goldy kind of color that guitar was. Let's go ahead and, if you have questions about guitar stuff, go ahead and ask them. Leslie will find them out of there. If you have a super chat, you can use that, and we will drop what we're doing. I'm going to give you, while she's doing that, I'm going to give you a couple of little things about signatures. Everybody in here has been super cool about this. A lot of times when I post stuff about signature guitars, people get really bent out of shape because they will say, like, that guitar player is not good enough for that. But really what it is it's the amount of eyeballs that an artist can get on a brand will prompt the brand to make the guitar. It's not about how good they are, it's about how many they will sell. So, you could say, well, this guitar player doesn't deserve a signature guitar. It's not like a rite of passage or a rating system for how good a guitar player is. It's how popular they are. And the metrics for all that stuff has changed. So, if they have a really good Instagram and YouTube presence, for example, drawing a blank, Rick Beato. Rick Beato hasn't sold 1 million records, but he has 3 million YouTube subscribers. So he has a huge audience, millions and millions and millions of people. And that guitar sold out immediately because he had an audience that would buy it. And so that's why guitar builders do signature guitars. It has nothing to do with how good the guitar player is. It has to do with bringing eyeballs to the brand. And typically, like Fender, for example, I believe they want to do 1 or 2 female artists a year. I think somebody at Fender told me that. And because they're really trying to build up the female side, which makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of really good female guitar players that aren't getting the airplay that they should. And also for younger players that we've never heard of. So let's say Her, for example, gets a signature model and everybody's like, I've never even heard of this person. Well, you haven't because we are in a different generation of music. But young players on Instagram have heard of her. And they will sell guitars. And they will sell these guitars that are... Here's an interesting thing, too. Those of us who remember what guitars cost in 1980 and 1975 and 1985 think that a Squier Stratocaster or a Squier Telecaster or a Mexican Stratocaster or a Mexican Telecaster is mind-blowingly expensive. But what you have to remember is the target audience for example, like a Her Signature Stratocaster only remembers a Mexican Stratocaster with a signature on it for $1,500. They didn't know you could get that guitar for $400 in 1982. And they have not experienced that price range. My daughter is a grown-up, and she does not know. Is she though? My daughter does not know a cell phone that doesn't cost $1,000.
Right.
Right? Like there's no
She
life.
doesn't know a phone outside of touchscreen either.
Right. So all the older guitar players are like, these guitars are so expensive and they shouldn't be, But the target audience for where Fender's trying to go in the future thinks that $1,500 is totally fine for a Mexican signature guitar, like a Jason Isbell or a Her or a Corey Wong or all these not Jimmy Page people.
Random guitars that I think Lizzo should get a signature flute.
I mean, she probably does have one. Who knows that she doesn't? Or that one's not in the works. It would make a lot of sense.
Jim Cox says, I don't know who Lizzie Hale is, but those Explorer birds are neat. I even know who that is.
I mean, Lizzie Hale's not young. That's just, yeah. Anyway.
Rock's Guitars Rock says Billie Eilish has a Sig ukulele, I think.
But see, that makes 100% sense.
That's so funny.
Because that makes 100% sense. A, because of how her records are produced with her and her brother, with her age and the age of her fans and what they are interested in, and how the age of those fans learn music. It is 100%
I think
makes
a
total
lot of
sense.
people learned ukulele during COVID.
Yes, they did. And it makes a lot of sense why. Anyway, these, especially with younger artists, these things make a lot of sense. The Machine Gun Kelly thing, I mean, we have young people around a lot because of our kids. Mm-hmm. And I can think of multiple times where my Machine Gun Kelly guitar was sitting in the living room, and people who know nothing about guitars. I mean, they know it's a guitar, like this is a light bulb. That's all they know. And they walk in and go, oh, that's a Machine Gun Kelly guitar.
Yeah.
That's why they made that guitar. That's why they made it. Yeah.
All right.
Plus, it's awesome. And it's pink.
You want some questions?
Yeah, let's do some questions. Let's do some questions, etc.
Questions, comments, whatever. Yeah. Robert Olin says, I still throw DTT pickups in everything. One guitar at a time.
Thank you. I'm shipping you some tomorrow.
Danielle Emberly says, anyone try the Reverend Pete Anderson Eastsider T guitar?
I have not, but I've seen it, and I think it's really cool.
I'm sure somebody could probably. That was a long time ago that comment was made, though. Maybe they got some help.
I'm pouring water into this because it has ice.
Tim Ziegler says Marty Schwartz has a 335 coming out next week. Epi with a hard case around $700.
And he's a YouTuber.
George Anderson says, hey, Dylan and Leslie. I'm currently working on a cigar box guitar.
Sweet.
I'm having a hard time deciding between a single coil or a humbucker. Any advice?
How about a mini humbucker? Because it's blades. And it's small. And it would be easy to put in there because you wouldn't have to worry about string spacing. And it would work pretty well. I'd go with a mini humbucker. And it's not deep either.
Charles Wallace says, would love to have a batfish. Starting to save.
Charles Wallace, I have a batfish sitting here for you when you want it.
Bear 51. I think it would be so hard these days to make guitars, even though you have great pickups from what I've heard. And that's because there's so many people doing it. True.
It is. It's a hard thing. And that's why there is no Dylan signature yet, because we have not decided if there is an audience for such guitar. If I decided that we could do a run of 20 of them and sell them immediately, we would do it. But we have not. I guess we've not ever talked about it, and I don't want to turn this into a should we do it and sell 20 guitars tonight, but since we're talking about it, that's why. But I also have not brought it up yet because there has been talk of it. Obviously, you know that I have a guitar builder that I could use for it, and etc. But it just hasn't come to fruition. But if there is 20 of you who would spend $2,500 for a guitar, because that's what it would have to be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about guitars being hard to build. It would have to be $2,500.
Banjay Guitar says, so while listening to your live stream yesterday on my way home, the engine in my Hyundai Sonata crapped out.
Oh, man. That is not a good day.
Rusty Shackleford, hey Dylan, I have a hot pink silver sky for you.
A hot pink silver sky. Well, that's cool.
Grant McCosey, ever tried a PRS EG?
Yes.
Is that it?
I've played, yes.
End of conversation. Ed Dupree says he was born in Augusta, Georgia, many, many, many moons ago.
Oh, wow. That's neat. I think is he in Colorado now?
I haven't. Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rusty Shackleford said, I saw Dinosaur Jr. about 15 years ago. Stood right by the stack. Couldn't hear out of my left ear for days.
They used to be so loud.
Let's see. All right.
Super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. Doc Siltonen, he says 1990 Audi A4 MSRP $25,365. 2023 MSRP $60,400. Just for perspective, inflation sucks. Do you think the JJJ Strats that TTG is making are a signature guitar, or is the TTG Challenger, or both?
I would say, I mean, the JJJ thing with the Charlie Christian is obviously his signature guitar, for sure. And I think
It's a signature Texas Toast guitar,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And it's an artist signature. I mean, that's Jimmy's thing. Like, that guitar that's what he plays now. You know?
And then what about Texas Toast Challenger? That's just a model up there.
Yeah.
Thanks for the super chat, Doc.
I'd have to think long and hard what mine would be. Would it be a single hum Strat style guitar, or would it be a Tele of some kind? That would be really, really hard. It would not be an original shape. It would probably be either a Strat a Strat-ish thing or a Tele-ish thing. But something you could never, ever get. So I built it once and sold it.
Chris says, good evening, Dylan. I picked up my first Dan Electro yesterday. So far, I'm enjoying. Have you ever played one? If so, what are your thoughts? All the best.
I think they're neato. I think they're really unique, and I think there's nothing else like them. I actually used to have a 1960 Dan Electro, and I loved it. I only had it for a short time. I flipped it, but it was a really, really cool guitar. And the new stuff they're making now has that same kind of feel, and I think they're really cool.
All right. I'm trying to... I think you just answered that. Greg D said, what would be your signature guitar?
Yeah, I'd have to think about it a lot.
It's Victoria G says, Dylan's signature should be lightly relict nitro.
It would have a Bigsby on it.
Rusty, are you planning to make your own Cunife? Is that the word? Single coil pickups?
No. Not at this time, because the magnets are still really hard to get.
Joseph Carswell said, but what model and shape would you pick? That's the hardest thing to decide.
It'd be some kind of telly shape.
Jason Albert said, will the Dylan signature guitar have DiMarzios in it?
Seymour Duncan. Quarter pounders.
DJ MC says our quote money is debt. Because I think Fat Philosopher responded to Doc. He was like, man, American cars are expensive. He was like, our money is debt. Random guitar. I'm toying around with building a hum single parts caster. The single coils need to work good for funk and Motown. The humbucker needs to work well for classic rock. What do you make that would work?
Classic 5s in the neck, DAF in the bridge. That's what I would do. And it would get you very, very close to like the Mark Lettieri sound, which is exactly that. I've actually taken those out and measured them and looked at them and stuff. And what we do in a Strat pickup is kind of my version of that. So yeah.
Is Hat Mike the one that always says he's like done with you, or is that somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
Hat Mike just said Bigsby, and for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, that's the thing. We probably wouldn't make a Bigsby guitar because
I feel like somebody. I don't think it was him though.
it.
Somebody was like disagreeing with you, and they were like, "I'm unsubscribing," and then they were like, "I'm back." DJ MC said, "I just ordered a Maple SE Silver Sky."
If anybody else wants a Maple SE Silver Sky, talk to me before you order one. Because I have this guitar, I am not gonna keep it. It's gonna be around for a little while. It's probably gonna be around for another 3 weeks or so. But if you want one, I have it, and it will be available, and it can come to you. I will give you the choice of, do you want me to put my pickups in it? Do you want me to leave it stock? Do you want, whatever. I'm obviously fixing all the little problems with it. Actually, they're already fixed. I fixed them today or yesterday, but that video comes out tomorrow. But just so you know, that guitar will be available. Anybody that wants a Silver Sky SE, it can be yours.
We already answered. Jeff Alfred says, I'm holding out for the DTT signature McPherson carbon fiber model in Lefty LOL. That's very specific.
That's very specific. And I don't know that will happen.
DJ MC says, send Silver Sky back.
I mean, you can if you want. I'm not kidding. I'm serious as a heart attack if you want to cancel that order and get with me. It's the purple one right up here above my head. I don't know if you noticed that, but I've got all the Sweet Tart colors back now. So I've got the blue and the green and the pink and the purple and the yellow. I was like, I have the full Sweet Tart set.
It makes me want candy.
Yep.
Bear 51. Hey Dylan, I got me a Fender American Ultra. Have you played one? And what are your thoughts? Those have the noiseless pickups.
I don't like noiseless pickups. Other than that, that guitar is awesome and it sounds great. And there will be a lot of people who won't want to touch that at all because they like noiseless pickups and you want that to be quiet. I'm not a huge fan of not a fan at all of noiseless pickups. But that guitar is really nice. It's really good. These new Fenders, at least the American ones, are so good. I'm really impressed with them lately. I mean, 6 months ago, I don't know if you could say the same thing, but right now, they're good.
Everybody's talking about Bigsby's and how hard they are to keep in tune. Don't you have a bunch of videos about that? He disagrees. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I can keep a Bigsby in tune just fine. You just have to know a couple things. Don't over tighten them. That's the biggest one. Otherwise, you'll twist the frame. So they need to have foam pads underneath them, and they need to be torqued properly so that they're not twisted. When you take the string, here's the number one thing you can do. Besides having a properly cut nut, that's paramount. But take the strings off the guitar, lay it flat, and flop the the arm back and forth. If it's going to hit the guitar, put something underneath it so it doesn't hit the guitar. Because depending on the guitar, sometimes it will. So put a towel on both sides and flop the arm back and forth. If it goes, something is wrong. You want that thing to flop back and forth totally loose. What that usually is there's 4 screws on a Bigsby, and a Bigsby B5 from America should have foam pads underneath the screws. They sort of look like the little pads that go in your strap pins. When you tighten a Bigsby down to the body, everybody thinks, sustain, bro, and they want to like completely bolt the thing as hardcore to the body as possible because totally sustain, bro. Has nothing to do with it. Sustain is the bridge. Don't worry about the Bigsby. Make sure that that thing is not twisted when you bolt it to the body because guitars are not totally flat, and they're cast pieces, so they're not totally flat on the bottom. Even a couple of thousandths of an inch can make it to where it'll twist a little bit, and those 2 rods will bind sideways like this, and then it won't flop over back and forth. So in real life, what will happen is you will use the Bigsby and it won't return to center smoothly because it's binding. So that would be the number one thing besides having your nut cut properly. Those are the 2 things that will keep your Bigsby in tune. And then there's a bunch of bridge friction things that you can do too. But those are the 2 things that people don't think of. Or that is the thing that people don't think of, is how you screw it to the body. It's really important. And nobody ever talks about it.
I don't know.
I learned it. Who's that?
Don.
Oh, he's been painting and working on stuff. He's making really cool stuff lately, man. Don, when you're comfortable to post some of that stuff in the Facebook group, please do, because...
He said I could make this a Dylan signature gold top with 2 P90s and a Bigsby.
Make sure you post some of that stuff. I don't know when you're ready to share it with other people, but when you can, put it in the group.
He shared it with me.
Because
I can keep a secret?
Well,
Just kidding.
Don's been making some really cool stuff, and I got to tell you, Don, we did a video about the Naked Lady guitar over there.
She's not naked.
Well, when we cracked...
The crackle looks good from here.
It does. When we cracked the finish,
yeah.
People were in the comments like, how do I get a hold of him? I want one of those.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, you should get in the Facebook group and,
Everybody's saying it's a tragedy that Sweet Water doesn't put Sweet Tarts in their packages anymore.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, Sweet Tarts are better than
Nobody
Smarties.
cares about Smarties or Bit-O-Honeys.
No, people do like Bit-O-Honey.
Oh, not me.
My dad likes Bit-O-Honey, so he gets that candy.
Yeah. Yeah. All of my big packages like that go to his house. So whenever I can, I'll open the box over there and I'll give him the candy out of the box.
Yep.
And give him the Bit-O-Honeys.
Grant McCosey says, next week, let's go down the amp and pedal rabbit hole so we can all argue.
I mean, I'm down. What do you want to talk about next week? Maybe that should be the last 5 minutes of our thing on
You only
Thursday.
have 2, though.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about next week? And what do you want to talk about amps and pedals? Throw that in the comments really quick. I'm kind of curious. Because when it gets to be 9 o'clock, we're going to go off topic and not talk about guitar stuff anymore. Unless it's a super chat. We'll tell you those details in just a minute. Yeah, amps and pedals.
Now we're having conversations about that she's not naked, that she's a pinup girl, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I wouldn't care if she was naked. That wasn't the point. But she's not naked. It was just a fact.
Yeah, and I got a blonde on one side and a brunette on the other. Because I put one on the back, too.
So how come the blonde made it to the front?
Strictly because of the shape of how it fit on the guitar.
Oh.
And the back one,
What
because
you're really
she's...
telling me is you like blondes, and I didn't even know it. My hair's not going to be blonde. Just saying.
Nope. No, because there was a redhead too, but just the way it fit on the guitar, because I wanted it to be in a certain spot.
It's Victoria G says, I have it in my customer notes. No bit of honey, only Laffy Taffy because of my dietary restrictions, and they listen.
What?
I didn't know you could pick your candy. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I think they waste a lot of money on some crappy candy. And who likes root beer hard candy? Or key lime pie hard candy? That stuff was gross. I tried it once and I'm like...
Maybe we should organize an open letter to Sweetwater.
Give up on tasting it now. I'm like, ugh.
I mean, I got a guy. We could call him and be like, look, man.
And flavored Tootsie Rolls. Who eats flavored Tootsie Rolls?
There was pink ones in there.
Yeah.
I was like, Now, pink Starburst, on the other hand, I can do. But not pink Tootsie Rolls.
They're not vegan. It's okay.
I mean, whatever. What is it, like? Animal fingernails or something?
Probably gelatin. Yeah.
Gelatin. Yeah.
And food coloring, you know.
Whatever.
Everybody needs some Red 40.
Yeah.
Except Brianna.
That is very true. Well, it's after 9 o'clock. We'll get off topic.
Because we're not already.
So here's how this works. Every Thursday night after 9 o'clock, the only way you can ask a guitar question after 9...
They're like, those are good candies. Sorry, y'all.
Okay, whatever. You're wrong. The only way you can ask a guitar question after 9 o'clock is in a super chat. If you leave a super chat and ask a question that way, we will answer it. We only got 2 super chats tonight, or 3 or something. But you can ask any question you want besides guitar stuff right now, and maybe we will answer it. Most of the time we do. And it's the way we hang out with you and just get to know y'all.
RRD says pink Tootsie Rolls taste just like pink Starburst. I don't think so.
I disagree. I'm a pink Starburst
Martian Murray
consumer.
Says hard candies are for old people. I can't find hard candy, and I wanted some. So I have like a Japanese hard candy because it's the only hard candy I can find. Because I'm not eating Werther's. That's gross.
Werther's are
and I don't
definite
want
old man candy.
You can buy peppermint anywhere. But I can't find any hard candy. I mean,
you
I
can
could probably
steal peppermint from every restaurant ever.
I mean, I have the peppermints I prefer in a little container in my purse. But,
that's true. I like brown Tootsie Rolls, though, like real Tootsie Rolls.
Do you?
Yeah. Except you eat like enough of them, and then they start to taste like plastic after a while. It's sort of weird.
Like one. And one time I had some kind of chocolate wine that tasted like Tootsie Rolls, and it was disgusting. Because that was just too much. Somebody said earlier, Muddy Water says, mini Reese's Cups would get me to sign up for a Sweetwater card.
Dude, no lie. I can't eat those, but yeah.
All right. Charles Wallace wants to know knife of the night.
This is actually hers. And I was actually going to just say, this thing is serious.
Mm.
It kicks harder than a lot of the other Protex.
It's big, like thicker, though.
Yeah. So this is a knife show, Blade Show exclusive. Protec Emerson. So it's got the weird Emerson bump right there with purple micarta instead of aluminum. You know, Leslie's thing is purple and with a black blade. So this is, and it's got a little jeweled, the firing button is jeweled. And the other really unique thing about this knife is it is chisel ground. So it's flat on one side and chiseled on the other. So it's an Emerson design. And it's super gnarly and thick. Like, I mean, when we have a lot of Protex. I got a bunch of them. But this junk, it fires, man. It's cool. Did we just miss a super chat?
Mm-hmm. No, we didn't miss it. We just haven't clicked the button yet.
Thanks for asking, Charles.
Jono JF, thank you for the super chat, Jono. He says, Dylan, man, your pickups and gear reviews have changed my world. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Does that mean you're like broker?
Maybe he hates everything now? No, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
Thanks for the super chat.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. T-Bone said Werthers are for old people. I know Buicks are.
Mm-hmm. We have a whole inside joke about that because up until the point we met, she had a Buick.
I loved it.
And she loved it.
Let's see.
Just before, because you had an Altima.
Sean McMillan said, if Sweetwater ever forgets your candy, you can let them know and they'll send you a jar of candy.
Really?
They owe us a lot of candy then, because they've forgotten.
A couple times.
Grant McCosey wants to know whiskey of choice at the moment.
None. I'm drinking water. I'm intermittent fasting right now because I'm trying to manage some inches, and so I'm not eating after. Well, today it's gonna be
After you're
like
done?
after I'm done. Yeah, but I'm trying to go like 16 to 20 hours without eating, but that includes basically anything that like fires up your taste buds, right? So flavored
insulin
water
response.
Yeah, insulin response. That's what it is. So flavored water, I'm not doing, which is what whiskey is.
It's flavored water.
Yeah. So I'm just drinking ice water until 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Fox Guitars Rock. Why are Randall knives so expensive, and are they worth it?
Randall? I don't know.
It's Victoria G says, my friend swears by intermittent fasting. I want to do it, but I have no self-control.
It's funny because it
Oh, Joseph Caswell says Walgreens have tons of hard candy. I need to go to Walgreens.
We should go to Walgreens. Oh, Randall made knives. Yeah, I have seen these.
Yeah. See, PJL626 had a Buick Regal Grand Sport in law school. Old man sleeper car.
That's different.
Oh, hang on. I missed the super chat. Super chat from Jeffrey Egan. Thank you for the super chat, Jeffrey. He says, did you get the link I sent on Instagram about the white knuckler Motorhead knives?
Yes, I have seen that. She showed it to me earlier, and yeah that's pretty cool.
I get the alerts for that Instagram account.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah,
this is from Jeffrey Egan, so I'm sure he wants you to see it before
we talk
tonight.
about it tonight. Yeah. Yeah, no, I did see it. It's cool.
Thank you for the super chat, Jeffrey. Everybody's like, I kind of like Werther's. I mean, I liked it at one time, but not anymore.
It's just an association thing for me. The red and white peppermints are too. Like, there's this old man that used to give them to me, and I remember the old man that used to give me the Werther's too.
I would rather have cinnamon. I mean, I like cinnamon anyway. Like, I have cinnamon gum versus peppermint.
You know
gum.
what's worse?
And those cinnamon things are good. And what's worse?
The worst old people candy of all time.
You're not going to say butterscotch, are you?
Well, Werther's is butterscotch.
No, it's not the same.
Well, you know what I mean. No, I was thinking...
The strawberry one?
No. What are those, like, they look like dried out marshmallows? And, like, grandmas would all have them in the dish on the...
Like circus peanuts? No.
They look
jelly
like
kind?
foam. No, they look like dried out foam. They look like a dried out marshmallow.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, dinner mints.
Is that what they
That
are?
dissolve.
But they're all like these colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like ultimate old people candy to me.
I would still buy that. Remember, I would go. Didn't you take me on purpose to go buy peppermint sticks? And you were like, these are disgusting. Because it was the soft kind.
I don't remember that.
You were like, no, these are disgusting.
I'm Googling it. I just Googled old people candy. And, butterscotch in the yellow cellophane, too. Like the generic stuff is bad too. These ones. This is what I'm talking about. Hang on, I'll hold it up to the camera too. These. Hang on. Probably it's hard to see.
Yeah, those are like dinner mints.
Ugh. Those are always in like a dish, and they're dried out and
they
gross.
Like melt on your tongue a little bit, and then they're like slimy.
Yeah, they're gross. Yeah, you can get a pound for $10. That's disgusting. That's what I was thinking. That's like the ultimate old people candy. I can't stand that stuff.
Yeah, all right.
It's probably some kind of trauma related to it.
Yeah, but do you remember it?
Would you want some candy? I think so. I think I remember the color of the couch next to the coffee table where the candy was.
Oh, Curtis Chavez. He said Jolly Ranchers are the bomb of hard candy. Agree. But I have a hard time. I'm a chewer, so then it gets stuck in my teeth. And when I was a kid, it was like a goal. Like, could I like get my jaw to be like my teeth to be stuck together? That's horrible. Like,
oh my god.
And now I have TMJ, so that's not funny anymore.
Probably because of that.
And then he said, oh, I missed it. Oh, and he said, I miss butter rum lifesavers, though. Those were the best lifesavers. No. Yes, I agree, Curtis. Alan Field says, Dylan, who makes your favorite coffee?
I don't know that I necessarily have a favorite. We try a lot of different stuff. And I am willing to try. We've had people send us coffee. We've gotten coffee from all over the world. And then we've had, viewers send us coffee and stuff. If I run out, I actually have a subscription to Black Rifle for just like a regular black coffee.
Not our favorite, though.
It's not our favorite. It's just good coffee.
Yeah. It's consistent.
Yes. And my grinder likes it.
Somebody said Atomic Fireballs. I like those.
Same.
And I like Gobstoppers.
Mm-hmm. My candy has changed, though, because I don't eat milk anymore. Like, I used to eat Milk Duds like crazy.
Really?
Yeah, I liked Milk Duds.
I think Junior Mints I could still have.
Ooh,
those are good.
Junior Mints rule.
We can get those at the dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
You like Nerds?
I love Nerds.
Yeah.
Nerds and Sweet Tarts are my favorite of all time.
Jeff Mazai says you are so ridiculous. I don't even know why. I don't know why we're so ridiculous.
We probably are.
RRD says, do you own any H&K pistols?
No, I am. That's on my short list because it's the only John Wick gun that I can afford. So I think I want to get a H&K P30L with the whole silencer thing that makes it look like the John Wick gun. Not the silencer, the compensator that goes underneath. That's because I would love to have all the John Wick guns, but there's no way I can spend, at this point anyway, like $7,000 on a Terran Tactical. So I think from the first movie, it's a H&K P30L, and I really want one.
Marcia Murray says he has to take sleeping pills to fast. So this one cracked me up too, and it's Curtis Chavez again.
It does help to just go to bed.
Yeah, it does. Curtis Chavez, I love the watermelon Jolly Ranchers. They bring back great memories of kissing my high school crush and sucking the candy out of her mouth. Yes, I gave it back with another kiss.
That's gross. That's gross, number one. And number two, watermelon is the most disgusting artificial flavor of all time, bar none, period, end of story.
He can be wrong sometimes, y'all.
I hate watermelon anything. I think it's because watermelon bubblicious when I was a kid. I just couldn't. I don't know. There's certain flavors that stick with you that you don't like, and watermelon is one of them. Like, I hate it. Oh, any form, like any water, like, like we'll get like Spindrifts or something, and they'll have like water, or any of these fizzy waters or whatever. Any hint of watermelon, I'm like, I'm out. Cannot do it. Ugh. It's like worse than Nickelback.
Joseph Caswell says, I'm not eating after I'm done either. Let's see.
No, I'm just trying to drop some couple inches.
It's Victoria G says, I love chewy candy, so I have to be really disciplined to not chew on a Jolly Rancher. Yeah, I get that.
I never did the Jolly Rancher thing.
Sean McMillan said, I visited Smoky Mountain Knife Works Saturday. I picked up a ProTech Tactical Response 3, and I gifted Sam a Boker. Is that his son's name?
Nice.
Who
was it?
Sean McMillan. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. Cool. You got a TR3. Isn't that what I have? Or is this a TR5?
A ProTech?
Oh, it's in the other room. Yeah, my new golden,
Jeffrey Egan says, gummy bears rock. What kind of gummy bears, Jeffrey Egan? That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say
I don't like
anything
gummy
until
anything.
you say gummy bears. What kind of gummy bears?
I don't like gummy.
What's a TMJ? I don't remember what it stands for. It means...
Tibomandibular joint.
Yeah, it means my jaw pops and
Right.
gets out of line really, really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks to go to the dentist.
I had a bunch of problems with it before I
Sorry,
had
Doc.
braces.
I am going now, though, so that's a new thing. Since I saw Doc, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Warheads are probably the only hard candy I really like. I forgot about those.
Warheads.
Is that the ones that are like super sour and
Yeah.
then they turn sweet
Yep.
once the sour's
Yep.
gone? I don't know if I can do that anymore.
Sour is, yeah, because your jaw does that thing
I
where...
get like lockjaw with sour things now.
Even like certain really sour, like really limey margaritas, we'll be
It
in the
will
car
hurt.
like a half hour later and she's like, my jaw's locking up, like it won't move.
And it like tingle, like it's painful, like it's a strange, I don't know, maybe Doc can tell me what it is. I think it has to do something with salivary glands
Oh.
in all my Google research. But I still don't quite know what the trigger is. Let's see, Mike and Ike.
Maybe we're supposed to spit swap a Jolly Rancher to fix your salivary glands.
I'm not going to say that was weird to me, because I do remember doing things like that. We would also try to, like, launch things in other people's mouths, so...
I remember that, yeah. You could do that with a Jolly Rancher because once it got slick, you could like pinch your lips and you could shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have it. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. There was no, like, germ rules.
No, this is the most off-topic one we've ever had, I think. This is pretty awesome. I hope people are getting a good laugh out of it, except for the 2 fingers down Frank guys.
It's Victoria G says, yes, Dylan, thank you. I cannot do fake watermelon ever. He doesn't do real watermelon either. Mark Stanton said I had to grow up and quit candy and sweets. Why did you grow up, Mark? That's not fun.
Oh, yeah, he probably had some health stuff that required it. Yeah, that sucks.
Windsurf Maui says, is buying a John Wick gun like buying a signature guitar?
Yes,
Probably.
pretty much.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, really pretty much.
Let's see. Oh, Grant McCosey says artificial banana flavor is pretty bad too. Absolutely.
I want a stainless PPK for the same reason. Because I want...
You just like ignored the comment I just read
What was it? Sorry.
about artificial banana.
It's gross?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So is orange.
You don't like artificial orange,
I
though.
do not do
And I don't
orange.
mind artificial orange. She hates it, though.
Yeah. That is some childhood trauma right there. For sure. Let's see.
My main childhood trauma taste is Cheetos.
Doc Silton said, I'd be okay with watermelon Jolly Ranchers if she's cute. It's been a minute. Oh, man.
Wow.
Pop Rocks. So the best thing about Pop Rocks is giving them to a kid who's never had Pop
Never
Rocks.
had them before? Yeah.
That's kind of mean.
Or
but
any of that
it's
sour
funny.
stuff.
No, Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks are the things that...
Yeah, they like fizzle in your
yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
Grant McCosey says Rolos melted on pretzels.
Dude, I loved Rolos when I
did
used
too.
Oh,
I miss
man.
caramel. It's hard to get caramel.
It's hard to get
'cause it's
caramel
all
without
milk,
dairy in
but
it. Yep.
they make some caramel non-dairy ice cream. I mean, it's all non-dairy.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Man, I love Rolos.
It's Victoria G says Albanese gummy bears are the best gummy bears ever, bar none. Oh, Jeffrey Egan said Haribo.
Yep.
That's mine, Haribo.
Yep.
All the way.
Yep.
All the way. I will not eat any other gummy bears. And I buy them often.
They have huge bags at Target.
And he doesn't even eat them. But
I don't care. I don't like them.
Jason Albert said pixie sticks. I used to like those too.
Oh, we used to get the big, long ones. They were
Yeah.
like this long and made out of plastic.
Yeah, we did that with the kids a few times.
Uh-huh.
And then they're just like jacked up on sugar in the back seat.
Yep. Yep.
Let's see. Yep. Tobor says Haribo gummy bears.
Yep.
Yes, yes, yes. A lot of people are saying they do no carbs is better for feeling better. Jeffrey Egan says, I love green apple licorice. I don't know that I've ever had that. I don't even think I knew licorice came in other than red and black.
Licorice is another thing I can't do.
I can't do black licorice.
Especially black.
Red licorice tastes like candles. Tastes like I would imagine a candlestick would taste.
It is very waxy. Remember Charleston Chews?
No.
Really? It was a really long candy bar. And it was like, I don't know, some kind of nougaty thing that was really hard to chew. It was like super chewy and it took forever to eat it.
Greg D says, how many Jolly Ranchers in a buttload? I mean, how much is a buttload, period?
A real buttload of Jolly. I think I know the answer to that. Excuse me.
Oh my gosh, that's
That was
weird.
my stomach growling. Apparently it's like, is it tomorrow yet?
Grandma Cozy says, artificial orange used to be used in cold medicines, probably why you hate it. Nope, not why. Jeff Alfred, as a kid, I hated the Mary Jane candy of the 80s. I mean, we'd go, there was like a store down the road. I was way too young to be walking down the road to a store, and we would buy Chica sticks and candy cigarettes.
I remember candy cigarettes. A buttload is 491 liters.
Why?
It is, a butt is a large cask used for liquids, especially beer, wine, or water. And it is a measurement equivalent to 108 imperial gallons.
That's so weird.
So a real buttload is 108 imperial gallons.
Who even says that? Why can't you just say gallons? Imperial gallons.
Because it's different.
Doc Stiltonen
An
says,
imperial pint is different than a regular pint. Like when you get the beer, it's a
I didn't know
different.
that.
Yeah, it's a different pint.
do you guys get Macintosh toffee in the USA? I don't know what that is, so I'm going to go with no. I don't know what Macintosh toffee is.
Like apple caramel apples. Oh,
Hawkman
toffee.
Hawk says, Mike and Ike's is the only reason I go into Dollar Tree with my wife.
That's funny.
Joseph Caswell, Dylan, next time you're in Denver, I will bring my Chavez knife for you to check out.
Oh, cool. I will be there next month.
Let's see.
I do not have a Chavez.
Charleston Chews, white, sticky, almost marshmallow-like material covered in cheap chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why I never had it. That sounds disgusting.
And you had to like stretch it. Like it was like you had to like bite it off.
I used to eat Big League Chew like candy.
Oh man, me too.
But
that
did
stuff
you,
was terrible.
Like people would like pack it in their
I
lip
know,
like
I know,
they were
I know.
dipping, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so gross.
And well, you're from the South where everybody dipped anyway. I'm not.
I mean, they
from
still do.
Well, that's true. I just the thing I remember about Big League is you wanted it because it was cool to do that, And the flavor lasted like
2 seconds.
no time. Yeah, it was terrible.
What's the meme? And it's like, I can deal with people as long as this lasts, and it's like the zebra stripe
Yeah.
gum.
Mm-hmm. I think it's funny that we got
Steve
it.
Rezer says a jiffy is 1/100th of a second.
I did know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yep.
Windsurf Maui says, back in the day, everyone wanted a Walther PPK, but the slide cut your hand open, so I went with a Beretta 25 cal that looked like a PPK. Great pointer.
I want a PPK because it's a Bond gun. And I want an Omega because it's a Bond watch.
Because the signature. You hear all this? Signature.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. I think those are like memory-based things. I really want a PPK. They're they're not expensive, but they're for what they are and what you wouldn't use it for anything. It would just be like a talking piece. And they're like $800.
Bud Legit 88 says, remember the shredded beef jerky chew?
Yep.
I do not.
I do remember that.
I don't remember that.
Candied cigarettes, shredded beef jerky chew, and big league chew. It was like the things that you could...
I loved when they came out with bubble tape.
I remember bubble tape.
That was fun.
Yep.
They still make it, I think.
And bazooka.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
I hated that.
You had to like crack through the crusty outside before it became
it's like, how
gum.
old is this? It's terrible.
Oh, it's so funny. What's so funny is all that stuff was terrible. And as a kid, you're like, I want this.
But it wasn't terrible when you were a kid. You didn't know. I mean,
but it is, like, looking at it now, even if you get it now, if you get any of this stuff now, it's terrible. Like, it's not quality candy. Like, Big League Chew is gross. It doesn't actually... The flavor only lasts 2 seconds. Bazooka is crusty on the outside. Like, still, like, it was like that when we were kids, too, but you didn't think about it when you were a kid. You just wanted it.
You just took what you can get when you were a kid.
We had Perry's Party Store. It was like a mile from my house. Until it wasn't, because the hot water heater exploded and blew the entire place up and it burned down. But it was a gas station. It was a mile from our house. And we could walk there. And they had... The penny candy was all the way at the bottom. Nickel, dime, quarter, like that. And we could... In Michigan, you didn't even need money because you could get 10 cents back on a can. So it was a mile, and you would just walk down the ditch of the highway, pick up cans on your way to the store, and turn them in. And you would have, you might have, some days you'd have 50 cents, some days you'd have, 75 cents, some days, you had $1. But you had enough to exploit the penny candy and the nickel candy and the dime candy.
What if you didn't find any?
I don't know that there was any time that you didn't.
That's really crappy.
Yeah, like people littered. It was the 80s, man. People littered.
Oh. Let's see. Where did I
70s.
go back? Here we go.
And 80s. Twin littering.
Grant McCosey says the best thing about zebra stripe gum was the color. It turned your spit.
That's funny.
Jason Albert, candy cigarettes and chewing gum in a chew pouch. Man, my childhood was great. Yeah. And then when they came out with like clearly Canadians, it was just like you were like this. You were mimicking all the bad habits that adults had that you were probably going to grow up to have. I don't know.
Because you in that time period you would graduate from clearly Canadian to Zima.
It's Victoria G. When you said PPK, it reminded me of CPK and made me think of Babyland General Hospital in Georgia. The Couch Patio.
They had a news story about that place the other day on the news, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me that people take this junk serious. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
And I'm like, I've been there.
And then our kids, who are grown, were like, We've never been there. We want to go. I'm like,
Bryson has been. He just doesn't remember.
okay.
But yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Greg D says blow pops.
I remember blow pops.
I mean, we've bought those.
Yeah.
Because I will still eat them. I don't eat them like I did when I was a kid, though. I remember, like, that little strip of gum that pops out.
Mm-hmm.
I would remember, like, it would cut the roof of my mouth. But
I like lollipops in general.
Who says lollipop?
Like, isn't that what they're called?
I don't know. I've always called them suckers. I don't say lollipop. Unless it's a 50-cent song.
Oh. That was the bad part about living in a family where there's 4 kids and you go to the bank and you don't get enough suckers.
Why'd you just call it a sucker?
Because at the bank, I think you call it a sucker.
It was a safety sucker with a loop on the end, too.
Maybe.
Do you remember those?
Yes. Yeah.
Jason Albert said the chewing gum in a pack of baseball cards. If you know, you know.
That's right. Suckers at the bank were always like green or something gross, though. They're always like lime or...
Better than red. Jeffrey gets like, dang it, now I want some candy. Greg D says, what about the red popcorn bricks? I want one of those. I don't know what that is.
Mm-mm. It's funny.
Yeah, Grant McCosey said, Dylan is right. Buy any of the candy and food you ate as a kid and try it now, and it's all gross.
It is. It's weird that we liked that stuff. But a lot of stuff like that when you're... And I'm pretty, I'm not one of these people who's like, I remember back when... I don't do that very often. But it is disappointing sometimes.
Garbage Pail Kids.
Oh, yeah. The cards.
And Magazine.
I remember trading those in school when I was really little. Well, not really little, but pretty little. Yep. Well, we were really poor, so we didn't have all that stuff. But I remember kids at school that had them.
Lollipop is very Midwest. That's what Grant says.
Oh, well, I'm from the Midwest.
Oh, my gosh.
Originally.
Curtis Chavez says, Pop Rocks given to the dog is funny.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Doc Stiltonen is still here as we're talking about all this. Speaking of oral damage, Captain Crunch is the worst. Like a cheese grater for your palate. But I still love it. I thought we were talking about teeth.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the worst cereal for your teeth? And it makes me think like grape nuts. Like, can you break a tooth on some grape nuts?
I mean, if you let it sit for 5 minutes, then try to eat it, it's like concrete.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Mm-mm. I wonder so since we have a dentist in the house, and we'll see if we can catch his comment, but I wonder what the worst candy is, like, for your teeth. Like,
I never, like, the kids' dentist never fussed at us about certain foods. It was sweet drinks.
Drinks, yeah.
Specifically soft drinks.
Yeah, I remember the whole put a tooth in orange soda overnight and watch it disintegrate and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm so anti artificial sweetener for the most part. Like, I argued with their dentist. I was like, they can replace their teeth. They can't replace their health. I was that person.
Well, they still have them.
And they still have their teeth.
They're grown-ups now, so.
And they cost a lot of money.
They did.
Marsha Murray says, I love Captain Crunch all berries still. It makes my poop colorful, too.
Oh, my gosh. Yep.
It's Victoria G says, I'm not a dentist, but the worst is now and laters. Literally the same texture as what they use to remove crowns. I loved now and laters. Dad played softball, and I would buy blow pops and now and laters at the little concession stand at the ball field. But that's something else that like really gets stuck in your teeth.
Yep. Well, are we candied out? Do we got...
Fox Guitars Rock says the quote, Tap water. Dad used to always be drinking. Now a day's tastes suspiciously like vodka.
The tap water. Let's see this really quick. Oh, wow. What did Doc say?
Toffee.
It's
Sports drinks and soda. Where'd it go?
right there.
Sports drinks and soda are the worst liquids for teeth. Sweet and acidic.
All right. Well, there you go. It's official. We're all going to have stuff rotten out of our heads now.
Our dentist friend always brings the candy. Yeah. I mean, they gotta stay in business.
Yep.
Why not? Makes sense to me.
Yep. Well, thanks, everybody.
This was
strangely hilarious and fun, and I'm glad we know about candy now. I told you it was gonna be off topic. I didn't know we were gonna stay on candy all night, but I guess we did.
Did we start with candy?
Yeah, it started in guitar
Sweetwater, yeah,
because of Sweetwater is candy stuff. So, all right. Well, thanks a lot. This has been super fun. Thanks for everybody who commented and chatted, and anybody that's new. I mean, we have almost 100 people on still, over 100 people. So thanks for hanging out with us and talking about candy and talking about guitar stuff, and for leaving super chats and supporting our patreon.com/DylanTalksTone. Probably going to upload a video to Patreon tomorrow, a special one that doesn't get put on YouTube. So you'll see that tomorrow, and yeah, some other stuff. So thanks for hanging out.
I have some stickers I need to put online.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are funny.
They are funny. All right. I guess we will see y'all later. Thank you.